Hi, I'm Eric Kelly from KellyPlanet.com. This is a close look at Star Trek The Next Generation, Season 7, Episode 20, Journey's End.
The Enterprise has arrived at Starbase 310 for a meeting with Fleet Admiral Nechayev. This visit has also given us the opportunity to pick up a member of the family.
Hey, look, Wesley's back from the Academy, sort of. And since we're at Starbase to see Admiral Nechayev, something bad must be going on. She never shows up just to say hi. Wow, Data and Geordi stop by, and they are happy to see our young cadet. This is where we get our first hint that maybe life in Starfleet isn't for Wesley.
It's good to have you home, son.
Thanks, Mom.
Really.
Picard has some Balerian canapes there to try to make nice with Admiral Nechayev, because those are her favorites. The last time we saw her was in Descent when she yelled at him for not killing Hugh, and before that she showed up to inform him that he was relieved of command, and she was giving the Enterprise to Captain Jellicoe, so these two had to have beef. Ah, there she is, and we'll see her again before the end of the series, and also on Deep Space Nine. She dismisses Riker from the room, because that's how she rolls.
May I offer you some refreshments,
I'll come right
Admiral?
to the point, Captain. There's a situation that's developed on the Cardassian border that... Are those Valerian canopies?
Oh, as a matter of fact, they are.
That was very thoughtful, Captain.
Oh no, it's the Cardassians again. We find out that the Federation-Cardassian border has been agreed upon, and a demilitarized zone has been established. That's like the Romulan neutral zone by a different name. The Cardassians don't have cloaks yet, so they can't just do whatever they want in there. The problem is the new border puts some Federation worlds in Cardassian territory and vice versa. Space is really, really big, so I can't believe an appropriate line couldn't have been drawn, but we need conflict.
Neither side got everything they wanted, but every side got something. And as someone once said, diplomacy is the art of the possible. Those colonies finding themselves on the wrong side of the border will have to be moved.
That someone was Otto von Bismarck, though he actually said politics is the art of the possible, not diplomacy, but that was like 500 years ago to her, so close enough. Picard says, well, the colonists aren't going to like that, but she's like, well, that's just too bad, and now it's your problem. To make things worse, one of those colonies has been settled by to whom Picard refers to as North American Indians. So he's like, yeah, a few centuries ago, people that looked a lot like us made these people leave their homes too. This isn't cool.
The Indians on Dorvan are a nomadic group that have settled there only 20 years ago, and at that time, they were warned that the planet was hotly disputed by the Cardassians. The bottom line is they never should have gone there in the first place.
The Admiral tells the captain if the, she says, Indians don't leave peacefully, you are to remove them by any means necessary, so this could get ugly. Mopey Wes is down in engineering, and Geordi is excited to show him some upgrades they've done, but young Mr. Crusher sure doesn't seem interested. In fact, he's like, wow, you suck. I learned about better ways to do this at the Academy. This is obsolete.
I don't know what's gotten into you, Wes. Look, do you want my help or not? With this kind of an attitude, absolutely not. You're dismissed.
I really feel bad for Will Wheaton. As I've said many times, I like him, but this character is written to be insufferable. Back in the day, he was a 14-year-old that always knew better than the adults, and now he's just a straight-up pompous jerk. Sorry, Will.
Captain's log supplemental. The Enterprise has arrived at Dorvan V, and I have spoken to the leader of the Tribal Council. He has agreed to meet with us this afternoon to discuss the situation.
The white-haired guy at the head of the table is played by Ned Romero, and we'll see him again as Chakotay's grandfather on Voyager. Of course, none of these guys are happy with the news Picard brings. Troy tells him there are 3 other planets just like this one, not in Cardassian space, but that's not going to work for them because this planet was chosen for spiritual reasons or something like that. Troy suggests they take a recess, and Ned Romero, his name is Anthwara, thinks that's a good idea. They'll get back to this tomorrow. Bev's like, geez, Wesley, what's up with you? I heard about how you were a jerk-face down in engineering.
That is my business. I don't need you telling me how to behave.
I shouldn't have to.
Maybe I am sick of following rules and regulations. Maybe I'm sick of living up to everyone else's expectations. Did you ever think of that?
Old Wesley's about 21 here, but he sure isn't acting like it. Looks like there's a party in 10 forward with the, I'm going to call them Native Americans. It turns out Anthwara's grandfather led his people to the planet that they live on now, and that was 200 years ago, but people live a lot longer in the future. This guy is pretty wise. He understands that sometimes sacrifices have to be made for the greater good, but he also says that sometimes people sacrifice too much. So those two sit down to talk about each other's family history, and oh boy, there's Grouchy Wes. That guy's name is LaConta, and he somehow knows Wesley Crusher by name.
2 years ago, I went into the Habak and began a vision quest. And while I was there, I saw many things. Talked to many animals, many spirits, and I saw you.
We'll find out a more logical explanation later. Lacanza tells Wesley he knows why he is there, to find answers, and then he leaves. Bev goes to the captain about Wesley's behavior. We find out that he's also failing out of the academy, which is odd since he was long ago established to be the smartest human in the universe. Picard says they have to let her son figure out things for himself. And, hey, we've seen this village before in Data's Frankenstein episode. There's Lacanza again, and he asks Wesley what he considers sacred.
I don't know. I mean, I think a lot of things are important. I have a lot of respect for things. But I don't really consider anything sacred.
Look around us.
That's a trick question because Lacanza tells him that everything is sacred to his people. Even you, Wesley. You are a sacred person. Add that to his resume. Holy crap, Tom Jackson is tall. He says since Wesley is sacred, he must treat himself with respect, or that would be unholy. Picard lays it out and tells these council guys that they're going to have to leave, or he will remove them. And Thwara says, you're not going to do that. I looked up your family history. Are you familiar with the Pueblo Revolt of 1680? Troy's like, I am, somehow. Several tribes rose up and kicked the Spanish out of New Mexico. The Spaniards returned and massacred the natives.
They killed hundreds of our people. Thousands more were maimed. The name of one of the soldiers was Javier Maribona Picard, your ancestor.
Picard is French, and this is news to him. And Thwara believes Picard is now there to make up for the wrongs done by his ancestor like 700 years ago. Hey, there's Worf, and we have some Cardassians. That's Gulliver, played by Richard Poe, and he was previously seen on Deep Space Nine. The captain needs a word with him alone. Hey man, you guys aren't supposed to be here for another 6 weeks. I'm still negotiating. And the Vec's like, negotiating what? This has been settled, and I'm not going anywhere. Picard says, look, this is a Federation territory, except it's not. And I will protect these people until that changes, so keep that in mind. This is the room where the Native American guys do their vision quests. I see a Klingon emblem there.
Spirits of the Klingon and the Vulcan and Ferengi come to us just as the bear and the coyote.
There's no difference.
So Wesley is supposed to light the fire and wait for a vision. Worf did this kind of thing on Boreth when he saw Kahless. Picard informs Nechayev that these people aren't going to leave, but she can't help and says, well, you know what you got to do, bye. The captain doesn't believe he's responsible for the actions of his ancestors, because he isn't, despite what Anthara says, and asks Mr. Worf to prepare to remove the colonists forcibly. Holy crap, Wesley's having a vision, and that looks pretty scary. And holy crap again, it's his dad.
You set out on a journey that wasn't your own. Now it's time to find a path that is truly yours. Don't follow me any further.
I don't understand.
Yes, you do.
Well, that was super vague. His father's been dead since he was a little kid. Jack Crusher is played by Doug Wirt, and we've actually seen him twice before. Worf informs Wesley about the plan to remove the Native Americans, and he doesn't like that. So he yells out, hey, everybody, Starfleet's going to beam you to their ship, and now this could get violent.
Inexcusable. You defied the orders of the ranking officer on the scene. You put the lives of the entire away team in jeopardy. Your actions reflect very badly on this ship and on that uniform.
The captain demands an explanation, and the cadet answers, what you are doing is wrong. Well, that's not your decision to make, and you will follow orders so long as you wear that uniform.
But I won't be wearing this uniform any longer. I'm resigning from the academy.
Of course, Bev's pretty upset about this, and she wants an explanation too. Wesley says, well, I saw Dad today, and he told me not to follow in his footsteps. As a doctor, she should probably make sure he doesn't have a concussion or something. Let's remember that Bev resigned from Starfleet herself because a space ghost told her he loved her 6 episodes ago.
I never questioned the fact that I would be in Starfleet. But when Dad said not to follow him, it just made so much sense. Everything is so clear now.
At this point, Bev brings up the Traveler from Tau Ceti, which is a real star, but she means Tau Alpha C, and how he told Captain Picard how special Wesley is and how he is destined for great things. That's nice, except I remember that the Traveler specifically told Picard not to tell Bev about this, and that Wesley needed to figure it out on his own. I guess that's a moot point now, though. Looks like the colonists have relieved the Cardassians of their disruptors. How? I don't know. But this is bad. Worf informs the captain, who in turn informs Gulliver, and he orders his ship to prepare troops to take control of the situation. Picard tells him that his security guys will protect the Federation citizens.
My security forces will respond.
I hope you realize the consequences of Federation officers firing on Cardassian troops.
Oh, yes, I do. That is why we must stop this now, before it's too late.
The colonists start shooting, and Wesley's like, no! And then, time freezes. Except for LaCanta, and he says Wesley did this, the time freeze thing. Oh, look, that's actually Eric the Traveler. He's been preparing young Mr. Crusher to become superhuman since Season 1, and this is the first step on that journey. Well, what about those people? Well, the Traveler guy says, that's not our problem, we have cooler things to do. Okay. Yvek's ship calls up and tells him that their troops are getting shot. What are his orders? Picard pleads with him not to start another war.
Yvek to the VTAR. Lock on our troops on the surface and beam them aboard.
But sir, they've been fired upon.
Those are my orders. Carry them out.
Yes.
He had every right to shoot back. It's a good thing he didn't. Picard orders their guys beamed up as well. There's Anthwara again, and the deal is his people have renounced their Federation citizenship, so now they're on their own on a Cardassian planet. They better hope the Cardassians don't find any mineral ore there, or the Native Americans may end up like the Bajorans. Gulliver is basically like, you leave us alone and we'll leave you alone. But, yeah, right.
I was right, Captain. You did not take us from our land, and you have wiped clean a very old stain of blood.
Traveler Guy told Wesley he needs to stay here with the colonists to continue his journey of evolving beyond us, because their spiritual culture will help. We won't see Wesley Crusher again until Picard and Lower Decks.
Good luck, Wesley.
Thank you.
Now you be sure and dress warmly on those other planes of existence.
I will. Bye.
Goodbye.
Okay, so we have Native Americans living peacefully with Cardassians on a planet in Cardassian space, and Wesley is with them under the tutelage of the Traveler, whom we've seen twice before. And Picard's family can rest easy because Jean-Luc has made up for the bad things that Javier Picard did with the Spanish army 23 generations ago. The colonists were straight up referred to as Indians by several characters throughout the show, and that probably wouldn't fly today. Ask Cleveland's baseball team. This episode was written as a series send-off for Will Wheaton to tie off threads that began in the first season, but also Ron Moore thought that the Federation was portrayed as a bunch of people who all wanted nothing more but to serve in Starfleet. And I get his point, but we have met many, many characters that were scientists, diplomats, civilians, none of whom had anything to do with Starfleet. And Thwara's people spent 200 years looking for a planet that was just right, and that planet ended up being right next to enemy territory. 200 years ago, Jonathan Archer was flying around in the NX-01, so maybe much of that time was spent en route. While Andrew Robinson played a Cardassian more than anyone, and Mark Alimo has played two different ones, Richard Poe's Gulliver is the only to appear on TNG, DS9, and Voyager. I'm not a fan of Wesley acting like an angsty teenager for the first half of this, and I really don't buy the Cardassians being cool with the colonists sticking around, but this isn't terrible, so I'm going 3 deltas out of 5. You can let me know how you feel about that. If you liked that video, thank you. Like and subscribe. Make a comment if you want to. There's more Star Trek videos and related content on my website. Check it out at kellyplanet.com. I'm Eric Kelly. Live long and prosper.